Why don't you use your family's apartment as collateral? That's probably the only way you're of any use. If you can't do that, maybe we should divorce, huh? Is this man laughing in front of me really my husband? He's planning a hostile takeover of a company and is after my family's assets. And now this? Even as anger blurred my vision, I replied coolly, "Sure, but you might regret it." Regret? I doubt it. My husband continued to mock me. I'm going to show him he's wrong. I clenched my fist. My name is Layla. I'm a 29-year-old housewife. I used to work at Company A, but 2 years ago I married Caden, the son of the company's CEO, and a department head. Although Caden pursued me aggressively, I believe we've had a reasonably happy married life. Caden is kind to me, and our relationship is strong. A major factor in our relationship has been Jackson, my father-in-law and someone I'd consider a benefactor. My mother-in-law passed away, but Jackson, who was also the CEO of Company A, has always been kind-hearted. He treated me well, even when I was just an employee. When Caden and I decided to get married, Jackson was thrilled. Even now, he treats me like his own daughter. I respect and adore Jackson. My family and his get along wonderfully, and I think I'm in a happy environment. Layla, I'm heading out. I'll be late tonight, so no need to prepare dinner. Alright, take care! Lately, Caden has been coming home late, probably because of work. Even when he's at home, he's constantly checking his mobile phone and often travels for business. As his wife, I feel I must support him wholeheartedly. Then one day, Jackson came to our house, looking deeply troubled. There's something I just found out, he began to tell us. A new venture of the company had failed, resulting in a debt of $3 million. What are we going to do, Dad? Caden, clearly distraught, said. It makes sense. Caden is supposed to take over Jackson's company in the future. A crisis at the company directly affects him. I don't want to burden the employees or you two. I'll approach the bank and our clients to see what can be done, Jackson said, with a concerned look. Jackson, it's tough, but please take care of yourself. That was all I could muster. For some time after, Jackson made efforts to secure funds. Given the times we're in, no matter how hard one tries, gathering $3 million just wasn't feasible. Jackson came to our house again, looking dejected. At this rate, Company A is done. I can't face our employees. Caden and I just listened silently. My heart ached. After Jackson left, Caden spoke. Damn, what a weak old man. I was shocked. I'd never heard Caden speak like that before, and always believed he respected Jackson's decisions. Caden, what are you saying? Layla, sit. I have a proposition. He pointed to the dining table. I took a seat, puzzled by this side of Caden. Caden, what's going on? What proposition? Listen, here's the situation. Caden began, clearly annoyed. Dad's company has a debt of $3 million. He failed to raise the money, so Company A is on the brink of bankruptcy. Right? So, I'll clear the debt, and then, under the guise of making him take responsibility for the debt, I'll take over. I'll become the CEO of Company A. I was stunned by Caden's audacious plan. You want to overthrow Jackson? Become CEO now? What are you talking about, Caden? It's not a bad plan, right? If Dad can't manage it, I will. You'd want to be a CEO's wife, wouldn't you? I can't keep up. And how will you clear the debt? We don't have that kind of money. Your family owns condos and apartments. We'll transfer them to my name and use them as collateral. My heart nearly stopped. Indeed, my family is well off. Just as Caden mentioned, they own condos and apartments. The apartment we live in now, even if it's under Caden's name, originally belonged to my family. It was a wedding gift, and they even provided the funds for it. But once you're married, it's a separate household. I've never asked my parents for money, and I never intended to rely on them. So you want to use my family's assets as collateral to take over the company? What will you do if the company goes under? Do you want to end up on the streets? So you want me to use my family's assets for you to become CEO? It's the best way for the company. Think about it. With that, Caden went to bed. I couldn't sleep at all. I was disturbed by this sudden change in Caden, who had always been so loving and considerate. I stayed awake all night and greeted the morning. Caden had a business trip that day. I couldn't shake off my uneasy feelings after sending him off. What's happening at Company A right now? Why did Caden change so suddenly? I felt compelled to see for myself, so I headed to the company. I used to work there, and as the CEO's daughter-in-law and department's head wife, I often visited for company events and brought gifts. No one would suspect my visit. I prepared some snacks and went to Company A after a long time. There, I saw a familiar face. Oh, Layla! It's been a while! It was my former colleague, Monica. Monica and I started at the company at the same time and have always been close. We share a bond so deep that calling her my best friend wouldn't be an exaggeration. Monica! Long time no see. I brought some snacks for everyone. Layla, honestly, maybe you shouldn't. Monica said, looking uncomfortable. Something was going on. I told Monica, I'd like to chat for a bit. Do you have some time? Yes, I've been wanting to talk too. I'm leaving early today. Let's talk. We ended up talking at a nearby cafe. It's been quite a while since we talked like this. Monica seemed distant. I got straight to the point. Monica, can you tell me about the current situation at the company and about Caden's behavior there? I'm really lost. I explained my situation to Monica. After hearing me out, Monica said with a bitter expression, So, the department head, Caden, is doing that to you. I'll tell you everything about the company and him. Please, tell me everything. First, everyone knows the company's in a tough spot, but everyone respects the CEO. We know he's doing his best for us, and we're trying to support him. Jackson has always treated his employees like family. That's why, despite the challenges, Company A's employees stand by him. Yes, he's a wonderful man. But the real problem is your husband, Caden, Monica said, looking resolute. I braced myself for what was coming. What's Caden like at the company? His attitude started changing when rumors about the company's problems began. He went from being a pleasant boss to becoming increasingly abrasive. Now he has a bad reputation. In what way? He's rough with subordinates, excessively harsh, and uses strong language. He even tells other managers things like, "You dare talk to the next CEO like that?" Many at the company are unhappy. I can't believe this. And given he's the presumed next CEO, nobody can challenge him. Honestly, there are people considering leaving if he takes over. I was devastated. Company A had always been a friendly place with a strong sense of community. I knew it because I had worked there. And now Caden was ruining it all. There's more. It's really hard for me to say this, Layla. I urged Monica. At this point, just tell me everything. What I heard next was shocking. A few days passed after that. After Caden returned from his trip, he once again summoned me for a talk. Hey, Layla, are you ready? Ready for what? What? I mentioned it before. The property your family owns. You're serious about this? You really want me to put up my family's assets? How many times do I have to say it? I need it for when I become the CEO. Haha. He laughed arrogantly and continued. So just get your family's apartment as collateral, okay? That's the only useful thing you can do. If you can't, then it's divorce. He then slammed a filled-out divorce application on the table. Looking at him laughing, I wondered, is this really the same kind-hearted man I married? After seeing his plans for the company, his greed for my family's wealth, and now this. With rising anger, I calmly responded, If that's how you feel, be prepared for the consequences. What? I won't regret it. His attitude was still mocking. Think about it. You think you can divorce me? Remember, this house is in my name. I see. I was determined to show him. I clenched my fist. And after Caden fell asleep, I collected the divorce papers from the table, locked myself in a room, and packed. I left the house before he woke up. Days passed and I ignored his calls. 2 weeks later, when I visited our former home, I saw movers taking out our belongings. Watching them, Caden noticed me and grabbed my arm. "Hey, Layla, where have you been? You left without a word. Let go of me. What's happening here?" "Oh, I'm mortgaging this house since you didn't move on the apartment matter." He mortgaged our house? The one my parents helped pay for? Looking at Caden, his eyes were bloodshot, and he had a sinister look. "With this, I'll have some funds. It won't be the full $3 million, but with your family's apartment and this, I can cover the company's debts and become the CEO. You'll be the CEO's wife. We might have to live in an old apartment for a while, though." I interrupted him. "Interesting. But since I've already submitted the divorce papers, it's no longer my concern." "What?" Caden was stunned. "That day, you said if I didn't put up my family's property, we'd divorce. I took your offer and filed for divorce." Yes, I had filled out my part of the divorce application and submitted it right after our conversation. Caden's face turned beet red. "What are you talking about? Without even telling me? How do you expect to survive? You've only ever worked at my company." Caden raged on. Then a calm voice cut through the air. "My company? What do you mean by that, Caden?" It was Jackson. "Dad?" "Step away from Layla. We have things to discuss." Thus began a three-way conversation between Jackson, Caden, and myself. "What's going on? Why is Dad here?" Caden exclaimed. "It's simple. What the hell are you thinking, Caden?" Jackson's voice was stern. "I've heard everything from Layla and the employees." "Everything? What do you mean?" "About how you've been trying to take over the company, how you threatened Layla with divorce to leverage her family's assets, and how you've been throwing your weight around at the company, boasting about being the next CEO. I know it all." Caden's eyes widened in shock, and he started to sweat. However, he retorted defiantly. "So what? You think you can pay off a $3 million debt, Dad? I can. You should step down from your position and let me handle it." "You've already divorced Layla, right? How do you plan to pay off the debt without her help?" Well, and you don't have to worry about the debt anymore. It's taken care of." "What? Where did you get that kind of money?" "Yes, Layla, using the properties her parents felt were superfluous, helped me directly by putting them up as collateral," Jackson responded. Just as Jackson said, I chimed in. "That's right. I had no intention of handing over my family's assets because you threatened me, Caden. But I was more than happy to help Jackson, who has always been kind to me." Hearing this, Caden nearly exploded. "Layla, why would you help Dad and not me, your husband?" "You're no longer my husband. Sorry your takeover plan didn't work out." How dare you?" "Caden, enough!" Jackson shouted. Caden, in his rage, tried to grab me, but Jackson intervened. Silently, I spread out numerous photos on the table. "What's this?" "Oh." Seeing the pictures, Caden's face, which had been red with anger, turned pale. The photos were evidence of Caden's infidelity. "Caden, you've been cheating with a young woman from the company, haven't you? That's why you've been coming home late." "It's not what you think," Caden stammered. "When I hired a private investigator, there was more than enough evidence. You even brought her along on your business trips, right? You've been dating and even traveling together. It seems like you brought her into our house while I was away too. It's all in the report." "That's not true! It's a misunderstanding!" Jackson chimed in. "Caden, you need to face reality. Your mistress has been bragging about how once the company's debt is paid off by your current wife, she would become the CEO's wife." "That's not true." Watching Caden's spirit slowly drain away, I said, "You threatened to use my family's assets for your own desires and even cheated on me. There's no way I could continue with someone like that. I'll be seeking damages for your infidelity." Adding to that, Jackson continued, "Considering your attitude at the company, and the fact that you've been inappropriate with employees, I've decided we can't keep you in the company. You're being terminated. Dad, Layla, this can't be true. Wait! Caden, who had been scheming to take over the company, now faced both termination and divorce. He sat, a mere shell of his former self. Jackson and I silently left the scene. Eventually, Caden was officially terminated. Without his job title and power, his mistress quickly left him. I received desperate messages from him, like, "It's a misunderstanding. Please believe me." And, "I only love you." But I ignored them all, and we successfully divorced. 3 years later, Caden, now jobless and drained of funds due to a hefty settlement from our divorce, was reportedly living in an old apartment, struggling financially. I had no interest in him anymore. He was a stranger to me. Jackson, on the other hand, successfully turned the company around in those 3 years. He repaid the loan secured against the collateral I provided, and my parents' properties were safely returned. The company is now thriving. As for me, upon Jackson's strong recommendation, I rejoined the company as an employee. Now I'm working positively every day with my dear friend Monica and other friendly colleagues. From time to time, Jackson brings up potential marriage suitors. After my previous marriage experience, I wasn't particularly excited. However, Jackson would often say, "I really want you to find happiness, Layla. I hope you start a new chapter in your life." Perhaps he's right. With that mindset, I decided to go on a matchmaking date. Lately, there's been a hint of excitement in my heart.